Website design gets a lot of press, and it's usually the first thing people think about when they talk about a website is, you're getting your website designed or redesigned or that sort of thing. But in fact, design is part of a bigger picture here. It's part of step 2 in design and development, and it is an important component, but not the most important. Let's take a look at a few of the key fundamental parts of design. Number one is that it needs to fit with your target market. The design of a website is all about meeting users' needs. So if that's the case, make sure that you design a site that does that. And let me give you a couple examples. For example, if you're designing a website for, say, engineers, you're going to have more data and facts and information and content, things that engineers are looking for. If you're designing a website for an artist or for a musician, let's say, you're going to have a lot more graphic design and artwork because you're selling more of an idea or of a concept, and the target market expects to see that. So it's just important that your design fits the target market. Now, for most business websites, the design should just stay out of the user's way. It should be straightforward and pleasing and professional and that sort of thing, but it really needs to let the user get what they want and stay out of the way. Too many websites have too much design, and they're kind of overblown with graphics and other visual elements, and this is getting in the user's way and stopping them from moving forward. And it's also a big reason why many websites have high bounce rates. Is just the design doesn't do it for the user. They can't figure it out and they leave. So keep it clean and easy to follow. Use left-hand or top navigation. I know that just in our user testing, people love it when websites do this, when they're clean and easy to follow and professional. And if the navigation works for them, it's a big part of the website's success. Use photos to tell a story, and also use captions on all your photos. Our rule of thumb is that you really don't have to have photos on a website just for pleasing the user. The user is just going to look at them and get distracted. You do want to have photos on a website if they tell a story or if they enhance the user's experience. And in fact, all photos on your site should have a caption that does that. And in many ways, you can tell a story with pictures. A lot of business websites, that have a service or whatever, it's kind of hard to show photos of people working in an office or whatever. But if you get creative, you can use photography to really tell your story, and you do that with captions. Keep the logo on the upper left. That's the most important part of the website area, or the website graphic design is going to be the upper left. That's where your logo and tagline should go. And let's look at a few more design tips, because I want to talk a little bit about links. Links need to be very obvious. And here's one of the things that happens is in many times the website's most important links are either buried in the content or buried in the navigation system. Make sure links are obvious. One way to do that, if they're in your content, is to underline them like we've done here in the slide. And avoid large blocks of text, especially on front pages like your home page or your main interior pages. Large blocks of text just don't get read. We've seen this over and over again in user testing. Users just don't read blocks of text. They scan text. Now, if we had a marketplace that was doing research and they needed the extra time to really get in there and look at the text, then that's fine. You can have that on your website. But your home page and your main interior pages should use bullets and headers. And then all the text should be tied into clear conversion elements, so that 10 out of 10 users would know and see that that's how you contact the company, or that's how you move toward getting in touch with someone or purchasing something. This is absolutely critical. For example, you want to have your phone number and contact information on every page, and we'll talk some more about that in a second. One important part of website design is newsletter sign-up. That's a key conversion point. Have it consistent on all pages. We recommend that it's on the upper left or somewhere near the upper left. Some websites now are doing upper right, but it's real important that you keep it consistent, because people will decide to sign up for your newsletter impulsively, just like they will when they call you. And if they don't have the information in front of them when they're ready to move forward, they might just leave your website, or they might get lost on the site and decide they can go to a competitor's site. And then that ties us back into, once again, contact information on every page. Make sure you have consistent use of fonts and colors, and designers know how to do this. The same thing with a font hierarchy that supports the design. So don't add a bunch of different types of fonts just to look good, but have a designer lay this out and map out your font and color strategy. Avoid auto-playing elements like videos or audio that play when the website opens. We've really never had a user in user testing tell us that they like that. The only people that seem to like that are the designers or developers of the website, and it's just hurting the effectiveness of the site. Now, we do think that it's great to have video and audio all over your website, but make it something that the user clicks to play as opposed to auto-playing. And don't have irrelevant clip art or irrelevant photos that are just there for design's sake. If you're going to have photos, you need to have a caption there with it, and have the photo needs to have a purpose for being on the website. And along with this, limit the use of Flash. Now, Flash is a great element. Flash is the things that you usually see moving on websites. That's usually done in Flash. But limit the use of Flash and have Flash stop at some point on your site so it doesn't keep moving and changing. Another thing that users are going to get more accustomed to is controlling Flash elements. So if they want to scroll through and see a Flash presentation, you can have that on your site, but let the user drive once again and avoid auto-playing elements that don't stop or don't get to be controlled by the user, especially those with audio. Let's look at a few websites here briefly and talk about design elements of a site. We're going to look at two insurance websites. This site has colors that don't go well together and a mismatch of colors, fonts that are too big for color choices, unclear taglines, multiple navigation systems, clip art that can be found on other websites as well. It's just clip art that's pulled from a CD or a website. And it's just a mess as far as design goes. It needs a designer's eye to bring everything together and to simplify it. And it needs a tagline and communication that's more clear and direct so people know what the site is about. One of the things you definitely want to avoid is a light-colored font on a light-colored background, as you can see on the left side of this website. Many sites do this, and it looks good on the designer's website or the designer's computer because designers use high-end monitors. But the rest of the world doesn't always have a high-end monitor. If you look on the average desktop monitor, you won't be able to read the white on the yellowish cream color, or you may not be able to read the light gray font on a light gray background. And so this site desperately needs a designer to come in and clarify navigation, the tagline, the placement of the logo, and many other parts of the site. Now let's compare this to State Farm, which is in a similar industry. State Farm has a very straightforward design, very straightforward and simple navigation system. They do use clip art, but the clip art looks like it was done by State Farm. It's more direct. I would like to see them add captions to their clip art so we know what the heck they're talking about. It has a very clear call to conversion right there in the middle to get a quote or report a claim. And it just has a nice, well-balanced design to it as far as the colors go and the fonts and the graphics and so forth. Let's look at a couple more websites in another industry. This is in an industry where people build their own greeting cards, and it's called stamping. And this website, Split Coast Stampers, is just totally text-based, and this really hurts them because they're in an industry that needs some artistic flair, and it needs something that draws people in on an emotional basis. And this website doesn't do this. In fact, I would imagine people leave this website very quickly unless they're already part of this and were drawn to it from offline experiences. But as far as their first impression from an online standpoint, the website won't do much for them. And here's a competitor, Stampin' Up. Now, Stampin' Up does a great job of drawing people in. Not only do they see a very nice, well-designed card, it ties it into the holiday season in this case. Yeah, it's simplified navigation system, straightforward colors and graphics and content. Much better than the previous website. And you can probably rest assured that Stampin' Up is doing a lot better as far as a business than the site we just saw. So anyway, what we've done here is given you some principles of design, showed you a few websites that are poorly designed and well designed. Take a look at these design elements and apply them to your site and see how you measure up. In the next video, we're going to take a look at the development and technology component of website design.